If your last few video uploads on YouTube maybe haven't taken off the way that you wanted, let's let's not be quick to blame the algorithm, and let's not be quick to say, "Oh, it was just bad luck." But on the flip side of that, let's not interpret those results as, "Oh, I'm doing everything wrong and I'm just not cut out for this YouTube thing, especially at this age." Please hear me on that. YouTube 110% is a figure it out as you go kind of project. That means learning, assessing, and improving with every upload that you make. And frankly, that's exactly how I think it should be, and a way that I think you can really start to see improvement as you go. And I do think you'll see improvement if you concentrate on the three things that we're going to talk about here in this video. And there are three small, kind of, but with big impacts, issues that you can really learn how to fix. And once you get them done, they'll stop quietly working against you with every video that you're putting up. And if any of those three that we'll discuss strike you with one of those awful, "oh, yeah, that was definitely me" moments, trust me that you are not alone in any of them. But thankfully, with each of these, they're going to become easier to spot and diagnose and to fix the more you keep posting. None of these fixes require new equipment or new styles of trying to speak so you're not seeming like yourself on camera at all. And none of them certainly require starting over. They're just simple things to put in place that I think could really help. So let's walk through all three of these together. Number three, I tend to think is maybe the most significant, but all three of them can have a real impact on the traction you get on your next video. So hey, let's get into it. Hey, if we haven't met, my name's Diane. I'm in my mid-50s, and I've started this YouTube channel to help my fellow folks who are over the age of 40 and 50 to find some more opportunities to earn income online and hopefully gain some more influence while they're doing it. And one of the primary and best ways to do that is always going to be a YouTube channel. Okay, these three mistakes and the easy ways to fix them. So mistake number one, making a video that no one actually wants to watch. Okay, I will always give the disclaimer that if you want to have a YouTube video and talk about whatever you want and not really care whether your channel grows and gets monetized and all the things, knock yourself out and have a wonderful time doing it. But if you do want to see some growth and maybe get to the point where you're earning with your channel a little bit, you always have to concentrate on your perfect viewer. I feel like I say that in every video, but it's so important to be thinking about who the person is, who is the perfect person to hear from you, to learn from you, to relate with you and what you have to share and the ways that you can help them. So here's how the mistake plays out. You come up with an idea and, oh, that's cool. I really like how that's going to sound, all the stuff. And then it becomes, I'll use the word esoteric. And here's what I mean by that. It's something that pretty much only makes sense to you. And it might be happening because what you're talking about doesn't have any real context given to it. It's just maybe like you talking about an experience or something that you walk through, but you're not really giving anything that your viewer can grab onto as you're telling, other than the fact that they're listening to you tell a story. And here's what that might look like in practicality. You sit down to record and you just start talking about something that's been on your mind. It's personal, it matters to you. And in a perfect world, there's nothing wrong with that. But on YouTube, you've got to be communicating in such a way that the person who is watching the video feels like they're getting value out of the time that they're spending watching your video. And if you give no context and no meaning to what you're talking about so it relates to them, chances are they've already clicked away before I even stopped saying that sentence. You're talking about your topic, your words, what it means to you, but you're not drawing them in. Does that make sense? Now, let me just stop for a second and emphasize that this in no way means that you should stop sharing your stories and you should stop sharing your heart and you should stop sharing the things about you, because that's what makes your channel so personal. Your stories are really one of the most valuable things that you have. It's how people get to know you and to trust you and to see themselves in you. And especially for those of us who are in our 40s and 50s and above, we have decades of experience and stories to be able to share. The issue comes that when you start sharing your story so deeply that you lose the sense that you're telling it so that somebody gets something out of that story. You kind of stop keeping your perfect viewer in mind. You might stop thinking about what they're interested in, what they're struggling with at this point, what made them click on your video to begin with, and what they kind of wanted to get from it. And maybe you kind of strayed off that path a whole lot. And when that happens, even if it might be kind of accident, you don't realize you're doing it, you end up not really making a video anymore. You're maybe a little bit kind of just keeping a diary that has a record button associated with it. And a diary is for you, but a channel, a YouTube channel, is about the people that you're trying to reach. If you want your channel to grow, your viewer has to be foremost in everything that you're doing. That distinction matters maybe more than it sounds like it should, because the person you're actually trying to get to click on your video and watch it is watching because they want something to be in it for them. That's not selfish, that's just the reality of how we consume media. And if 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and a minute go by and they don't feel like that's happening, they have already left. And in YouTube world, we have to always remember that YouTube is always watching to see what happens after the person makes the click on the video. If they're quick to depart, that sort of triggers in the YouTube algorithm that maybe this video isn't one that's kind of worth pushing out to more people. We're just gonna kind of pull back a little bit. But here's how we can really start addressing this happening and fix it. This is a wonderful exercise to do with your channel in general, and honestly, before every video that you make. Take a minute and sit down and think through who your perfect viewer is and what they might be able to gain from this video. If you had to picture a perfect person who was in that perfect viewer category, think about what might be happening in their life right now. Think about what they're hoping to learn that can help them to deal better with a certain situation. Think about what might encourage them right now. Then with all that stuff in mind, you can really start building your video so that it addresses that person in a more personal way. Keep your story in there. Keep it personal so that people can get to know you, but make sure there's always a thread that's going through those stories that they can grab onto. Something that they can carry over into their own life once your video is over. Your story will always matter. Just give it the context that's really going to serve the person who's watching. So let's move on to our second mistake that might cause a good video to lose people even in those first few seconds. Not really focusing on grabbing your viewers' attention and intrigue in those all-important first few seconds of the video. Now, this can pretty easily happen when you feel like kind of having a slow lead into your video is the way to go. Hey friends, I'm glad you're here today. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. And I get it, especially for those in our age demographic. We feel like it's better to be polite and warm and welcoming and really kind of help people to get into things. So I understand how that's a natural concept for us. However, we always have to keep in mind even what our own behavior is when we're watching a video. If we click on that video and it seems like the person's just kind of rambling a little bit or maybe talking about how their hair looks or anything like that other than focusing on the point of why you clicked on that video to begin with, we're all trained into, we want to have that immediate sense of, okay, this video is what I thought it was. And if you give them any reason in those first few seconds to not feel that way, chances are they're already scrolling to the next video. Generally, I think about the first 15 seconds is what you have. You might have a 30-minute long video, but if your first 15 seconds don't give that perfect viewer the reason to keep on watching and they leave immediately, your video doesn't get the views, and again, YouTube gets the feeling of, we're just going to narrow this down and maybe not push this out to very many people because we have the feeling this isn't going well. So creating an attention-getting hook in those first 15 seconds is absolutely imperative. Now, a hook isn't a gimmicky kind of thing, and it's not a trick. It's simply creating the fastest, cleanest way to tell your viewer, you made a good decision by clicking, here's how I'm going to follow up and give you the promise of what you thought you were going to get, and do a little something to intrigue. All you want to do is stop their thumb from scrolling up on the phone or hitting the arrow on the remote on their TV to keep on going. Keep them where they're at, watching your video. If the first 15 seconds don't deliver on the promise that your title and your thumbnail gave them, they will move on. So, here's the fix. Open with the promise, and I'm not saying it's directly, I promise you'll get this, obviously. Open with the promise that your title and thumbnail actually communicate. They got an impression of what they were going to get when they clicked. You need to meet that impression with reality. So that can be a question that draws them in. It can be posing a problem that makes them feel that pain point, like, oh, yeah, I feel that way too. I'm going to keep watching. Or you could just jump right into the first main point of your video too, to keep that promise that they thought, oh, I was going to get this from this video. Oh, go ahead and give it to them then. No matter what, the first 15 seconds aren't for friendly pleasantries, as opposite as that might feel to how we feel when we're meeting a person for the first time. YouTube is a totally different animal. They're not for pleasantries. They're not for making little funny statements about yourself. And they're not for any of those little cutesy opening montages that some people really love to have in their videos. And I get it, they're fun to put together. But if you click a video and you force me to watch through even 7 or 8 seconds of your little opening clip, chances are I'm like, no. Are you that way too? I bet if you're honest, you are. You can save the hello and the warm-up and even that little opening clip for later on in the video once you've captured your attention and you've drawn them in. Nobody clicked on your video to hear you say hello. They clicked on the video because they got a sense that you understand them and you might have a solution to the problem that they want solved. Or you might have some encouraging words for them that push them along in something. Or they might have an interest-based itch that they want scratched, and they get a sense that what you are putting together in this video is going to scratch that itch. Just use those first 15 seconds, that first minute, to really give them the idea that you're going to deliver on the promise that they kind of got in their head when they read your title and when they saw the thumbnail, and then deliver on it. That keeps everybody happy. So that's super important to fix. But there's one more thing that we have to fix before we even get to that point, and this could be the most important of the three, which is slapping a title and a thumbnail on a video without really giving them much intention or thought. So maybe this is your process, and I don't think it's at all unusual, that you come up with a video idea and you might script it out a little bit, or at least write out your bullet points, and you do everything and you get it recorded, and then you maybe do a little editing on it, and then by the time you're finished with all that, well, daggone, you're just tired and you're like, well, I'm going to get this thing up. I put all this work in, let's get it out there. And then you're posting it and you're like, oh, I need a title. This is sort of what it's about. Or, oh, this might be something that's kind of, well, they'll be interested in this and it's kind of cutesy, so let's try that. Oh, and I need a thumbnail. Shoot. Well, I'll just put this picture up, and I saw somebody else do this, so I'll just throw this on there too. Now, who knows? Maybe you've struck a gold mine, but the very large chances are that you didn't. And now is the time that you thought, I should have maybe thought about this before I even started the video. And I will absolutely encourage you to do that. Now, I get that process because the title and the thumbnail just feel like those last little things you got to put together because you put all this work into this video and it could be really good. But if no one clicks on the video to watch it, you haven't kind of gotten anything. And what causes somebody to click on the video is the title and the thumbnail. So let's try this instead. Let's flip the order. Let's absolutely think through what the title and thumbnail could end up being for the video once you get that video idea. I found that when I know the title going into it, it really kind of helps things to go a lot more smoothly. It keeps me focused the entire time that I'm filming, and it helps me to reinforce the idea, well, here's the promise that I'm making to my perfect viewer, so it keeps me just right in line with how I'm bringing the text about, with how I'm structuring the video. It just kind of keeps everything tied together in a good way. And that means less wandering, less potential rambling, and less having your viewer kind of wonder what the video is really going to be about. Let's just bring it back to Picture who your perfect viewer is before you even turn your camera on. Think about what they might be struggling with. Think about what's going to capture their interest well enough to have them click on your video to be able to watch it. And let that become what forms your title, hopefully, even in the kinds of words that your perfect viewer would use themselves. And once you have that title, then your thumbnail becomes a lot easier too. It's simply showing that same type of promise, but with an image. Nothing cutesy, nothing really vague, just something that offers a fast, honest answer and support to the title when the person who's scrolling is thinking, whether they know it or not, is this video for me? Is this something I'm interested in? A great video with a weak title is a video that hardly gets any views. But when you plan your title and your thumbnail first and then build that content around it, you're improving more than what we refer to as the packaging for the video. You're really improving that whole video because you're building everything to that same focus and making it all make sense in a better way. Okay, I hope that didn't feel too rough to hit those things, but I just wanted to give you a quick opportunity to think through, I think, 3 really major things that if we're able to get those fixed up a little bit, I think you're going to see some really good things come about with that, with the way that your videos are received. If you're doing any of these 3 things or all of these 3 things, none of that means that you're failing at all. YouTube is learn as you go. You make one video, you see how it does, you assess how you did in it, and I'm going to encourage you to pick one thing to focus on in your next video and improve on that. Don't try to fix all 3 at once. It's just a lot to be able to deal with, but I want you to keep them in mind as you move forward. It's how you can sort of get these things a little bit more in line. These things really are relatively easy to fix with small shifts, but all those small shifts can make a real difference moving forward. So pick on the one you want to focus on, and in your next video, see how you can work it into the process of what you're doing and be intentional about it. And I'd love, just for the sealing the deal with it, that you drop me a comment and tell me that one that you're going to focus on in your next video. I read all the comments. I don't always get to answering everyone, but I do read every single one. And I'd love to hear what's grabbing you about this and what you think, hey, that's the one I'm going to focus on. All right, we can do this, friend. We can work on these things, and hopefully you'll start seeing some better results moving forward. Hey, I really appreciate your time and watching. I don't take it lightly that you give me your time and attention, and I hope that I provided you some value with that. YouTube thinks that this would be the perfect video for you to watch next, and I tend to agree. I'll see you in the next one.